Welcome to the Beverage Podcast, episode 28, the comic books and superhero news podcast hosted by me, Tucker Maltby, and usually Marcus, but he has child, so I have another guest this week, Luke from the Multiversal Q podcast. Luke, you wanna...
Now in podcast form.
Now in podcast form. Dang it. I was gonna set that up. Or I was gonna set that up for when Devin was on, but I don't think he got the setup.
It usually takes like 5 takes for him to remember it. I have to do a lot of editing going into each episode.
uh, so, Luke.
Yes, I'm Luke Hare, dashing podcast person and writer of comic books, including the upcoming Heroes International coming out from Legacy Rising Publications in late
Oh
July.
yeah,
Order
I
it
saw that post
from
on your Twitter, and I was like, "Dang, you're doing like some legit stuff." See, you tell us
Yes.
anything about that?
Uh, yeah. So Heroes International is one of 3 books that are launching in this, I can't necessarily say new superhero universe, because Mike Watson, the guy who created it, has been like working on his headlining series for it called Hotshot for almost a decade now. So, but there's only like 7 issues because he was doing the whole independent writing and drawing thing. But now we are moving on to he's going to be writing Hotshot, or he's going to be drawing Hotshot monthly, and then the 2 other books, Vigilance, which I edited the first issue, and Heroes International, which I am writing. Those are going to be coming out every other month. So that $4 per issue is only going to break down to about $2 a month per story, and it's a bit of the it's a really dysfunctional superhero team that I'm doing a bunch of sort of one-shot stories for, each focusing on a different character. So, like, the first issue is the team's first mission together. You get to see them mess everything up, more or less. Second issue has Space Prison, and then third issue is still in development, but it's fun. It's sort of like a Justice League, International, Europe era stuff, with the people really not getting along except ramped up to 10.
All right, that sounds cool. I'm gonna check that out when it comes out. Uh, so like every week on the Beverage Podcast, I ask my guests what they did this week, what they read, what they watched, what they listened to. So, Luke, well, what'd you do this week?
Uh, this week I ended up realizing that Mr. Show has been added to HBO now, so like Thursday and then Friday and then like today I wrapped up watching that entire series, which was a lot of fun. As for comics, if I read beyond like the normal weekly stuff and the normal podcast stuff, I've been slowly reading through The Boys that I bought like a few weeks back on that Garth Ennis sale. And I like Preacher. There's issues that I have with Preacher, especially in terms of like gender and just general attitudes.
Mm-hmm.
The Boys, I have no idea why I keep reading it other than I sort of want to see what happens, and I hope the characters who aren't total assholes don't end up dying. So,
Yeah, that's sort of how I was. I was like, when I didn't finish it, I read like a couple volumes. I just wanted to find out if that guy like beat up that speedster for killing his girlfriend.
yeah. I'm hoping that, like, maybe they get back together, maybe everything works out for them, but I don't have a lot of faith in that. And then before coming onto the podcast, I made avocado bruschetta, which is pretty much just like guacamole except unmashed.
All right.
Like, I should have realized it, because it was like diced avocado, diced tomatoes, diced red onion, some lemon juice, and some basil, and it's like, oh shit, no, I've just made like 3/4 of a guacamole.
All right, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this week, uh, I caught up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 3.
I am a big fan of that show.
Yeah, I like it. I like that show a lot. I'm a big Andy Samberg guy, so I also was also listening to Popstar soundtrack yesterday. I'm getting ready to see. I'm probably gonna see that movie this weekend. Uh,
Do they do like $5 movie Tuesdays where you live?
uh, I don't think so. They might do discounts during the week. I don't know.
No. Like here, almost all the theaters do like $5 movies on Tuesdays, and so that's when I've been seeing a lot of movies
Mhm.
recently, s except for the stuff that I have to see Thursday night for the podcast.
Right.
And have to see should probably be in quotation marks.
See what?
Have to see movies should probably be in quotation marks because really I
Oh,
don't
right.
need to see the stuff the
Yeah.
night it comes out, but get that podcast, get those views
Yeah.
slowly,
And if you wait,
slowly.
it'll get spoiled.
Yeah, well, I don't know the last time I've been really spoiled, but I don't know the last time that I haven't seen a movie, so I've had something spoiled that I actually cared about.
Uh, I got Legends of Tomorrow spoiled for me. Like, it wasn't even the next day. It's like, because I work nights, so it's like a little after
Mm-hmm.
midnight, and I was just on my Twitter at work, and it's just like, oh, Justice Society, it's ruined.
Oh,
It's like, it's not, it
well,
hasn't even been like 4 hours. But yeah.
yeah, I've been like watching that the day after because I watch all that stuff on
Uh huh.
Hulu. So
It's ridiculous. And I was rereading The 12 by J. Michael Straczynski. Did you ever read that?
nope, I'm not a JMS guy. I sort of came into him from like his later works. It's like, oh, he's the guy who did Grounded,
Hmm.
or like all the other bad stuff that he's done. And so when I visited the stuff where it's like the Ezekiel and Moreland Spider-Man stuff, it's like this is not good.
Hmm.
Comics.
I like some of most of his stuff, but that's me. Uh, I like the 12. The art's really good. It's basically just like 12 Captain Americas, basically. But I like the Man at a Time stuff. I guess it's yeah, that's me. And then the Preacher pilot that was 2 weeks ago. Actually, it was this week too because they played it 2 weeks in a row. What did you think of the Preacher pilot? Because I know you saw it. You seen it
I
before us. All the
yeah,
plebes.
I got to go. I got to go to a preview screening of it here in the lovely city of Columbus, which when I first watched it, I had not finished the series
Hmm.
because, like, the first time I'd read it, it was just I was not in the right headspace, and it can be really immature for as like mature as it tries to make itself seem. But I'm interested in the ways that it's going to go, and yeah, that's the big thing. I want to see where it's going to go before I make any more decisions because that first episode definitely changes a lot of things, like Tulip as a character fundamentally, where she's like actually actively killing people and doing crazy stuff that she definitely was not doing in the series.
Hmm. Well, I really liked it. I haven't reread Preacher in a while, so all the discrepancies I didn't really bother me. So I know a lot of people are like it's a lot different than the comic, but I haven't read it
It
first since like a really long time ago. But I really liked it, and I'm excited.
it's sort of like what a lot of it seems like what you remember Preacher being in your like memories.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I think I remember the scene where Cassidy pulled the cow in to eat it after he had crashed in the plane. It's like, oh, that was actually in anything.
Hmm.
So, like, it gets a lot of the spirit of it, and I think it's going to update a few of the things that didn't work as well for me.
Yeah. I mean, as an adaptation, I think it got most of the feel of Reacher, and
Mm-hmm.
so some people were saying that Jesse was a lot more broody, but that's how heroes are these days, I guess, just brooding. Uh, so I guess we can move on to. I want to get. I know we're sort of on a schedule because you have stuff to do. So do I. But let's just.
Oh, that's not for like. Oh, that's not for like two
Okay.
hours.
So let's just start with our review X-Men Apocalypse because I want to get that out of the way so we don't run out of time.
Oh no, that's fine.
Uh, so what did you think of it? Let's do spoiler free first. Just give me a little rundown if you liked it or if you didn't.
Overall, I really enjoyed X Men Apocalypse. There's some really uneven stuff. I'm getting tired of Mystique as a character since every movie seems to be looping her back more or less to, oh, she's a reluctant hero, oh, she's not a reluctant hero, and I really wish there was more of a focus on the kids, and there's one major scene that really only serves to have a cameo of a character who everyone I guess is expecting to be in there now if you haven't seen the movie yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, that was kind of spoiled in like the trailer.
overall, I enjoyed it. Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I agree. I feel like Mystique is sort of the Wolverine of this uh, trilogy, kind of.
except she's given like less agency most of the time,
Yeah,
and like she really doesn't do a lot of Mystique stuff. Like, yeah, she transforms, but it's usually just between her two forms. She's not really doing any
that's. I
spy
didn't notice
stuff.
that.
She's
That's
not
true.
really doing any master planning.
She is usually just blue or her most of the time. um, yeah, I agree. I enjoyed it. I think it's a fits perfectly fine in with the Singer series. Feels like a Singer X-Men movie, and if you like that, that's fine. I feel like it's in this universe. Fits in this universe. Well, maybe it's never really had like an apocalyptic, no pun intended, uh, disastrous X-Men movie, but I felt like it fit in. Uh,
Yeah, I think they just need to do more personal stories
hmm
for the series. It's like, well, and more personal series about people beyond just Charles and Magneto and Mystique.
right.
Like, I'm really excited about all of the kids who they had joining the team. Nightcrawler was fantastic. The new Cyclops and Jean are really good. I want more dang Jubilee.
Yeah, that's true. Sucks that she got cut out so much.
Yeah, because like the theater that I go to shows a lot of the promotional videos that they made before.
hmm
So like the In Search of and the like X Mansion lifestyles of the rich and the famous, and then the Jubilee like commercial for the X for the Xavier Academy, and then it's just like, oh, she gets maybe 5 lines. So I'm looking forward to the director's cut where they put in the mall scene that they apparently filmed.
hmm I guess yeah, we can go into spoilers. So overall, it was, or not? I guess not overall. I don't know why I said that. So what were some of your standout scenes? Some things that bugged you? Stuff like that.
All the horse Archangel and Psylocke really were also ran characters. Like they had no, or they had little to no development. I think that was a big weakness. I was fine with Apocalypse compared to. I know a lot of people have complained, but he's not really a character who, to me, has ever had a lot of depth. But I'm also not the person who's like, oh, Apocalypse is as good as Darkseid, because those people are wrong.
Yeah, there's no way Apocalypse is as good as Darkseid.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, I agree. I felt like I was thinking last night, like, what if they they sort of gave Psylocke telepathy, and then like during that fight with Apocalypse and Xavier in the Mindscape, she like snuck up on him and like psychic stabbed Charles through the head or something, and like jacked into his brain or something. I was like, that would have been cool, something cool for her to do. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted psychic
Instead, she
armor. I was
just
hoping that
allowed
when
what?
Charles was in his Mindscape, he'd have his like gladiator armor on.
Yeah. I was hoping to see that gladiator armor in the astral plane, but I was left high and dry.
Maybe like show that armor like in a display in the mansion, and later on like he's wearing it in the psychic area or something. Just so
Yeah,
people aren't like, why is he wearing that? And we're like, oh, he like seen it before and or something. Or uh, yeah, I was kind of sucked that Warren didn't have any lines basically,
yeah. It was. Oh, I'm Bird Guy with
and then he
wing
died at the
claws.
end.
I'm going to fight. Yeah.
I was like, what's why do we hate Archangel? I know he's not the most interesting, but he can be on the team and be like snarky and fun or something.
Well, and he can be a very interesting character. You just have to commit to that.
Yeah, I did like Scott and Jean sort of characterization and like getting to know them and their relationship because we didn't really get much of that in any other X-Men movie.
No, it was just like Scott is competition for Logan, and he is not as cool as Logan, and yeah, giving him like agency and making Wolverine much less well, making Wolverine a lot creepier because this is like the same guy who's hitting on Jean like 2 decades later. That age stuff gets super weird.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, in that scene with Wolverine, I was like, dang, Jean is a lot younger than him, and like, what's his policy on like because you can't really do your age half plus seven anymore.
Yeah, there is that point where like if you are immortal, you're kind of screwed over.
Yes.
Then I think it just becomes a lot more about consent and mutual interest.
Mm-hmm. You can't really be like, that's a sexy baby. I guess I'll wait 18 years.
It's not Twilight,
uh,
where like the werewolf ended up like falling in love with Bella's baby,
mhm.
who super aged up because it was a vampire or something like that.
That's so. Yes. Someone has a fetish and that's it. I'm king shaming you, Twilight. What do you think of Wolverine's scene?
Uh, it felt very different than the rest of the movie because he was like cutting people and they were bleeding out to death,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a lot more violent.
That's it. Yeah, that's true. I didn't really notice
But I
that
mean,
because I guess I just took myself out of it. And just most things like that, in comics and in movies, most of the time I just take myself out of it, just accept that this is happening. But I can see how after that was said, I can see how that could take you out of the movie, like that much violence all at once. But
yeah. Well, and I hadn't really considered it all that much until I listened to the Jay and Miles episode where they discussed the movie in more detail. And it's like, yeah, no, that's definitely a thing.
mhm,
Like I had noticed how little it added, but
that's true. For me, I was just excited that we were getting like actual Weapon X Wolverine instead of Wolverine's oranges.
yeah, that was the nice thing that
I feel like that's why they put that in.
Wolverine go, yeah, the whole reverse time stuff.
Hmm.
So
So I felt like that whole sequence was better than that whole movie.
Well, that's not saying much, though. I have not watched Wolverine Origins and since I made the mistake of seeing it in a theater.
Mhm. So yeah, I like that scene just for the fact that it was him in his headgear and battery packs and basically like a legit berserker rage going crazy. So I enjoyed that scene a lot. I can see how people wouldn't like it, but I've accepted that Wolverine's going to be in every X-Men movie forever.
No, well, no, I mean, they said the next one's going to be his last role. They'll probably bring him back in like another decade when they want another Wolverine cameo,
You
but
could recast him.
well, they're saying they're bringing in X-23.
So yeah, there'll be a Wolverine in every single one. I had this idea.
A Wolverine in every pot.
Yes, you get a Wolverine and you get a Wolverine. Check under your seat. uh,
Everyone gets a Wolverine!
exactly. I was saying, I had this idea for to recast him, have him get like shot in the face with like a shotgun, and then he regrows his face into the new actor.
Basically, do a Doctor
Yes,
Who.
basically, his regeneration is just viciously vicious facial reconstruction.
Well, they could argue that, I mean, because the end credits scene introduces Mr. Sinister, so if they wanted to go that route, it's viable.
Hmm.
It's not necessarily a good idea, but it's viable.
Yeah, I was at first I couldn't remember what Essex Corp was, and I was like Essex Corp. Then I was like Essex. I was like, oh wait. Took me a second to.
Yeah, I've just been like reading so much damn Age of Apocalypse that I was like, oh, okay, yeah, Sinister.
Yeah, but it's gonna be
Okay.
like human sinister with like he's just like a geneticist. They're gonna do something stupid with it.
I think this movie showed they're willing to do weirder stuff. I mean, the beginning of the movie is, hey, these people who built this pyramid over like dozens of years set it up so that they could automatically destroy it and trap their god king under like thousands of pounds of sand
Hmm.
with his strange super mutants. So I mean, I think we could get a at least more science fictiony Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, I'm not very optimistic, but do you think
Well, I'm Luke.
you are? uh, where do you think he's gonna show up? Do you think he'll be in the next X-Men, or do you think they're gonna put him in New Mutants, or
Well,
maybe
I think
Wolverine? I don't know.
I think he'll probably be set up like more as a cameo. Like they need a new recurring villain because they can't turn Magneto evil again. Like they've already done. Oh, Magneto's good. He's a friend. Oh, now he's evil. Oh, now he's good. He's working with us. Oh, now he's evil. Oh, he's good. He's got a family. Oh, his daughter is summoning eagles of death metal. Oh, now he's evil again. Now he's good again. They can't keep on doing that anymore. So I think like Mr. Sinister is a good recurring villain who they can use.
Hmm. I'd love for him to be like keep popping up, be like the Thanos, like he's setting things up behind the scenes.
I want to see them put in some weirder stuff, like put in some magic and Ilyana Rasputin magic.
Hmm.
Like go put in some weird demon stuff, put in some space stuff. Just get us some weirder X-Men movies because that's what we're getting from a lot of the other Marvel franchises like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're expanding what we can expect. And I think the X-Men universe is going to need to keep up with that.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, yeah. Uh, so like, anything else you want to talk about with X Men?
Nope, I'm pretty
So
happy.
out of 10, what would you give it?
I'd give it a 7.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a 7. Uh, I don't think there's anything else about it that I want to talk about. I'm sure I'll think of something later. uh, let's move on to. You want to talk DC Rebirth or Cap next?
Either is fine with me. I don't care about any of the topics all that
Oh
much.
well, okay. Just gonna burn
No,
my.
I mean I
Just
can
gonna
talk
put me
about
on
them.
blast,
Yeah, yeah.
Luke. Come on, my podcast to start a battle. Are we gonna go to war? Because you have.
Do
I
I
think you
do
have
I
more
need to pull out
followers
my?
than me, so you'll probably win.
Yeah, yeah. You're not going to be doing well.
All right, you're just continuing to burn me. So, okay, thank you. All right, let's just talk about Cap. It was revealed. Did you read that issue? I think you're not a big. You don't read a lot of Captain America.
No, I've read like stuff after it came out, but I'm. It's like I'm reading a lot of series that I find fun. I think I've got a friend who like reads it that would probably let me borrow it if I wanted to. It's like I don't really care what Steve Rogers is doing in the main universe. I was kind of happy having him be old grandpa,
Hmm.
and it's not Squirrel Girl, so
Okay. Uh, so if you don't know, it was a big hubbub that Captain America, at the end of his first issue or his new relaunch, is he said he threw Jack Flag out of a hill thing and said "Hail Hydra," and the whole thing was like doing flashbacks to 1920s where he was like they were talking to him and him when he was like a little kid, and his mom were talking to some lady, and at the end it's revealed that she is like getting his mom to come to some group meeting, and it's a Hydra meeting, and it's like he was like a Hydra agent the whole time or something. People are all like, "What?" But yeah, that's sort of the
yeah.
nature
And
of the media, is to blow things out of proportion. Just it's a comic book. Like, didn't we just report on Captain America being dead like however many years ago it was?
that'd be over 5 years ago
Yeah.
now.
It's like these things are. It's just a story element, and this is a first issue. That's what first issues are for, to like get your attention and be like, hey, isn't this a crazy thing? Don't you want to find out what happens? And it's like either it's yes or no. It's not
Except
yet.
that
It's not
at the
no,
same time,
yes, or I'm gonna kill you because you did this to this character.
well, at the same time though, you've got like little kids who are growing up with like Captain America as their hero, and it's like he's the person they look up to. And I was talking to someone I know who she's Jewish, and her cousin loves Captain America, but it's all of a sudden like, oh, he's a Nazi. My greatest hero is a Nazi. What does that mean? And while it's not a Nazi, it's still like hard to explain. Oh yeah, no, it's not real, or it's not permanent, or he's just mind controlled or something to a kid who doesn't understand it and who's going to keep hearing about this. And I have a feeling it's going to be one of those stories that you get this starting coverage, but you aren't going to get any more coverage on it for the mainstream media
Mm-hmm.
until like Captain America is getting replaced with a woman, or Falcon is killed in a crossover in 2 more years.
Right. I could see that how people would be upset if that's all they know, but like it could change next issue. It could be
Uh,
it could be handled wrong and be like, oh, just kidding, or something.
yeah, well, and part of it is how like people within the comic industry are responding to it, because yeah, it's an in-page spoiler. It's nothing that's really going to matter too much, or it's not really going to undo every single story that's come before with Captain America. But at the same time, there is a point where you should be able to empathize and say, yeah, I understand why this is bothering you. It's part of the story, and it's the beginning part of the story. So just keep on reading, and you'll see what we're going for.
Exactly.
But instead, most of the people are like, oh, all of you are wrong, stop being idiots, go eat a sandwich.
Yeah. I mean, you're not interested in this, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna read it. I've been reading Sam Wilson, which has been okay. I'm more excited to see how he interacts with this book because Nick Spencer is reading or writing both of them, and I'm excited. I feel like Sam hasn't really gotten his Captain America moments yet, so I'm glad that Cap isn't really
He's
Cap
not
yet.
immediately getting replaced.
What's
Yeah,
that?
he's not immediately being replaced.
Right. Because I like Sam as Cap, and I was glad. I was hoping he'd get a good run as Cap,
Hmm.
but I feel like he hasn't had his like big Cap moments yet. Cause he's had that Rick Remender run, which was fun, except for the whole sterilization thing. And then the the Nick Spencer run has been like, I'm a werewolf. It's like, so yeah, he hasn't really had big moments yet. I want him to have his moments before they take the shield away. And DC Rebirth came out. Did you read that, Luke? Are you a DC guy?
I want to like DC. Can you
Yeah.
hear me? Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been getting like a dithering effect, which isn't as big of a thing since I can understand you and I know it's recording your line separately, but it just cut out there, so I wanted to make sure. I want to like DC Comics. I just think they don't want my money for one
Mm-hmm.
thing. The fact that there's still no like DC equivalent of Unlimited because they have all these stories that I guess are no longer canon. Uh, there's not a lot of series that are of interest to me. The only books that I'm getting or planning on getting from DC are Future Quest, and the first issue that was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun, and then Supergirl because the guy who had been writing Midnighter is taking over that. So I want to see what he does with something that's going to be very
Yeah,
different.
I said that's very different. Yeah, DC for me has been kind of like I've been reading Batman and I've been reading Justice League in the trade. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I did you but did you read this issue?
Nope, I heard enough stuff about it to more or less form an opinion, and I've seen enough pages popping up online where it's like, oh, it's it's Watchmen and it's Watchmen references and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and I'd have less issues of it if they ended up using the Pax Americana team and like all those Watchmen
Mm-hmm.
analogs because they're there and no one's going to use them until Morrison gets involved, and they're just going to keep on messing with Alan Moore's comic.
Yeah. Oh, well, DC Rebirth, I liked it a lot. I am a Jeff Johns fan, and it felt like a very Jeff Johns issue, more so than I mean Justice League's fine, but this this felt even more Jeff Johnsy. Like early 2000s is good stuff to me. Uh, I liked uh, I liked it all basically. It was really good. The art was really good. It felt like an event. I felt like it could have been an event because like each chapter was like enough for an issue basically because it was like 80 pages and like 60 some story pages. But
Mm-hmm.
I liked it a lot. I see. I felt like Watchmen was as I'm not sure if Jeff does symbolism that much, but like uh, it's like the very obvious symbolism of Watchmen being the excuse for, or like the darkness of Watchmen being the like a symbol for the comics decline into a darker storylines. Uh, I feel like that's what he put it in there for, not to like
Mm-hmm.
incorporate Watchmen into the DC universe. It's like Watchmen is like the symbolism for their darkness because it was a dark comic, sort of meta thing. Uh, and if that was the only reason he did it, and if Watchmen never shows up again, I think that would be a cool thing. But I wouldn't not pick up an issue if it was
But
Superman punching Doctor
I
Manhattan or something.
I don't think that's going to happen though, because if they wanted that, they could have used the Pax Americana team, and I don't see them having that sort of restraint because Watchmen for them is still a book that they're going to be printing until the end of
Right.
time or until they're going to go bankrupt. That way, the rights never revert back to Moore.
Right, but I don't think that the Pax Americana team would have as much impact as a symbol as Watchmen would.
Oh no, it definitely wouldn't. But if they wanted to like tell the stories, or if they wanted to use it as an idea, like you had said, they should have used Pax Americana. But I feel that there's no way they're going to do that. They're just going to go with we need to have the actual Watchmen. We need to put them in the universe, and I think they're going to get a Harley Quinn,
Yeah, I don't
where
want them in the.
they just keep getting diluted and diluted, and eventually they become more or less household names that have been sapped of all their original value, while they are a completely different property in terms of fandom and who was into them.
Yeah, if it wasn't just like a symbol for this one issue, if they are gonna bring him in, I hope it's just Doctor Manhattan and just as like a villain for like a miniseries or something. Because I don't want all the others in there. So it would be stupid because we already have those characters. I mean, Doctor Manhattan, he's based on Captain Atom, isn't he? And he's
Yeah.
like very different from Captain Atom.
Well, yeah, all the
But Silk
characters are
Spectre,
abstract.
Night Owl, they have power equivalents, like basically.
Oh no, there's like direct equivalents for them
Right.
because like Moore had started off wanting to like make a comic using all these old properties that they weren't
Exactly.
using, and they're like, oh no, make your own characters instead.
Mhm. But like because his whole thing is that he left to go and uh make his own universe or changes or something, and it's like implied that he came to the DC universe and effed it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be fine if it was just him showing up and being like, "I'm evil" or something. I don't know. And then the whole Wally West coming back. I know there's two Wally Wests, and but but it's not that in this universe Wally is black and the other one he was white. It's that they both have a grandpa named Wally West and they're both named after him. So they are literally both Wally West, which is gonna
Well,
be
and then
really
there's
confusing during team
well,
ups.
and then there's the three Jokers thing.
But yeah, that was in Justice League. I haven't read that yet, and it's kind of like
Oh,
they just spoiled it in that issue. It's like, oh, there's three Jokers. Like, why?
I, more money, more Jokers, more money.
I mean, who are? I mean, that's so ridiculous. There's like three. I don't know about that. I hope that they forget that.
I doubt they will. They wanted to throw a curveball, and they threw a
They
curveball.
definitely did. They threw three. You step up the bat, and you think he's gonna throw a curveball, and he throws three balls at your face.
It's more of you expect them to throw a curveball, and instead they just roll a bowling ball at you. It's like this isn't even the game that we're playing here.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, overall, I liked it. I don't. I hope that they don't replace Wally with old Wally and just like say like the white guy's back. But yeah. Are there any DC Rebirth titles you're excited for?
Just a Supergirl book because of the writer, and nothing else really speaks to me. That's like the creative teams are the main reason that I'm getting the DC books that I am or was getting. But it's like Batman 66 is over because they've been doing the crossover with Man from Uncle, which I think is done. And now Parker is writing the Future Quest. So there's nothing else that really I care about or nothing that's interesting enough to me to pick up.
Mhm.
Like for me, the DC universe is very different than the Marvel universe because the DC universe very much breaks into the different periods of publishing more than Marvel's books do.
Mhm.
So I like my ideal DC is the DC animated universe where everything is streamlined, it's simple to understand, and you can do a bit of anything.
Yeah. You're into the more lighthearted stuff.
I like some of the weirder, more esoteric titles. I'm like looking over at the DC titles that I have on my nearby bookshelf, and it's like, oh, I've got the DC 1 Million Omnibus, I've got the Great Darkness Saga, I've got Kingdom Come, I've got Knight and Squire, uh, oh, Hitman, and yeah, that's like most of the stuff that I'm seeing from here.
Mm. I'm gonna try and pick up all the Rebirth number ones just so I can get a feel for the books. Cause I want to read more DC, but it's like it's not that New 52 is like not that much good stuff. uh,
It had a lot of interesting ideas, but it had a lot of problems in the granary.
mhm. I just
Oh, I've also got my two copies of Final Crisis there.
I just read the Batman number one. It was really good. I'm not sure how you felt about the Snyder Batman or if you care about Batman at all, but talk.
I I had the issue with Snyder Batman where it was I'm coming from it like a few months later and everyone's being like, "Oh my god, this is the best Batman story ever." And I'm like, eh, it, it didn't do anything. Zero Year was a lot of fun,
Mhm.
but like the Court of Owls stuff, everything. Well, I guess that was the one spot where everything was sort of spoiled by people talking about it. But I just have no care to read a lot of Batman stories,
Mhm. Uh,
at least since Morrison's run ended.
mm. Yeah, the new Tom King. Uh, he's doing the new one, and I really like the vision, and that Batman was really good. I'm gonna keep reading it. So I guess we could segue into our top three comics of May 2016. Would you like to just
You bet.
start at number three? You can go, and then I'll go, and then we'll count down.
Oof. This is going to be difficult for me because I'm reading a lot of comics that I really like. So these would be more of I've done a quick review of what I got last month, and probably number three for me would be New Avengers. Like Al Ewing is blowing me away on everything that he's doing these days, and New Avengers is his. Hey, let's put all these young teen superheroes and like legacy, well, not necessarily legacy characters, but all these weird characters like Squirrel Girl and Hulkling and Wiccan and Sunspot, and put them as a not necessarily terrorist group, but a group that is not aligned with the government like the Avengers teams are. And as a result, they're doing really weird stuff. And then in Standoff, they ended up being declared as like enemies of the state. And so, like, the U.S. government ended up sending the American kaiju,
Yeah, I love that.
whose name is Todd Ziller, to face them down. And he's this giant Godzilla monster with an American flag painted on his face like nuke, and he just screams out USA. And so, of course, Sunspot with his Legion of AIM scientists had a giant mecha to fight, and so it was pretty much Pacific Rim except with superheroes. Well, also you've got like stuff like Hawkeye finding out that Mockingbird was a double agent working for Shield to take down the team. The team gets disassembled, and like by the end of the issue, the only members who are still technically New Avengers are like Hulkling, Wiccan, and Squirrel Girl. and Tippy Toe, because everyone else has decided to fight the government or left the team.
I'm excited to see if they're gonna add some members to it.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Well, like
they added us out at the end.
the
Cannonball showed up, and I was excited about that.
yeah.
And so I'm hoping we get some new members in there, maybe.
Well, like one of the things I've been liking about Al Ewing's books is that they've been very adaptive. It's not the same status quo. So if you miss like an issue or two in some of those books, everything is completely changed.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really good one. I really like New Avengers as well. Uh, I liked how they had like explaining all the things that were in American Kaiju. Like he's got gamma rays, pin particles, and then like Doc Connor's lizard serum. It's like
Yes.
it all made sense that he would look like that with all that stuff in him. As much sense as a comic book can make about a giant Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
My number three was Future Quest number one. I read that as well, and I really enjoyed it. The art was just crazy good. If you don't know, Future Quest is the Hanna-Barbera, we mentioned it earlier. It's the Hanna-Barbera book with all their sort of adventure uh, people on it. So it's Johnny Quest, Space Ghost, Birdman. Uh, that's all they've revealed so far.
The Herculoids are going to be joining in eventually.
Herculoids. Uh, and I don't know, but my knowledge is limit for that is limited to some stuff I watched when I was sick at my grandma's house and Adult Swim.
Hmm.
So, but without most of the knowledge, I'm still enjoying it, and I'm excited to see what they do. I like Jeff Parker, uh, and I like Doc Shaner. So yeah, I'm pumped for it.
Yeah.
Uh, and your number two pick is
My number two pick is going to be Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat. The first arc was a bit slow moving. Like Kate Leth is doing a decent job writing the series, but it wasn't really working. And then this most recent issue was sort of a oh, there's a helicopter flying by, so I will wait for that to fly by.
is it a police helicopter? Is there something you want to tell us, Luke?
Yeah, I live near a stadium in a major city, so there's helicopters and stuff like that flying by frequently.
Oh, I was just
Thank
setting you
you.
up for a joke, but that's okay.
I'm anti humor. I hate jokes.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Uh, yeah, the most recent issue was a one shot drawn by Natasha Allegari, who you may know from Bee and Puppy Cat and a lot of other stuff. And it's Hellcat, She Hulk, and her friends end up going to the beach to have fun at the Coney Island Boardwalk. Except that arcade is there, and he has taken over the arcade. And so it's an arcade issue. There's a lot of just really fun stuff. The art is very cute. And it's the only series going right now that has Jessica Jones in a role where she is not an angry, nagging woman.
Yeah, I read issue one of Hellcat, and it was it was, I, it was interesting, but like not enough to keep my attention. I like the idea of her. Is she still like uh, a temp agency for like people? Or that's
Yeah.
yeah, that sounded like an interesting idea, but I might pick it up later. But that arcade idea sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's like a fun arcade issue.
Cool.
And the like more one shot nature of it really helped.
What?
And what's your number
My
two?
number two. It's all new X-Men number 9. That was the one with Evan Sabanur, aka the Apocalypse clone, aka Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
It was his birthday, and everybody was hanging out at Utopia, like all the kids, and they were like swimming in the ocean, and they were like watching movies, hanging out. It was a lot of fun, just like them all chilling. And Evan was like sort of sad or it like goes into his headspace of how he doesn't really he has Pickles the Banff like teleport him to Kansas to like go and get like a candy bar from like a convenience store to like remind him of his home in quotes because he was raised in like a virtual reality Kansas by Phantom X. So he has some like longing to be there, but it's not really his home. And he was talking about how he's always smiling because if he's not smiling, people will think he's going to be evil, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was like a very interesting idea. It's like if he doesn't, he's not always in a good mood. People will think he's about to kill them all because he's a clone of Apocalypse. So yeah, that All New X Men has been getting really good. That was a really good issue. I have been enjoying All New X Men probably the most of them all the X Men titles. Uh, and yeah, it was a good issue. Are you reading any X Men books?
I'm reading X-Men 92,
Okay.
but
All right.
do you want my number one
You're
now?
number one.
Um, it's the most recent issue of The Unbeatable Squirrel
Huh.
Girl, where Squirrel Girl is looking for dates, and it does not go well. You get a scene where she goes on a date with the Sentinel. I mean, if that's not enough to get you to put $4 down for a book, I should theoretically go on and say more, but it is so good. I also do want to give a shout out to Contest of Champions, which is also one of my like favorite regular books. But like that's more Al Ewing stuff, and I mentioned my love for Al Ewing earlier.
Most Al Ewing stuff's good. I mean, all that I read's been good. So yeah, he gets 100%.
Yeah, like he's doing Ultimates, New Avengers, and Contest of Champions, and it's like they've all got different storytelling formats. They're all very different approaches to teams and stories, and like it came out this week, so it's not technically a comic from um, May,
Yeah.
but it's like the most recent issue of the comic. Like they're doing a Civil War Contest of Champions issue, but it's alternate universe Civil War characters. So it's like a world where Tony Stark ended up winning the Civil War, so now he's Iron Patriot, and like Black Widow is the Iron Spider.
So your pick was Squirrel Girl,
Yes.
and my pick for number one was the Vision number 7, which was the one about uh, the Vision sort of going through his relationship to Wanda and what it was like through Avengers history and just like what it was like during different moments. And it was very interesting. It was by Tom King. It was very deep and sort of like how it compares to his relationship now with his robot wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it. I'm really loving this entry. Uh,
Uh, have you
or
been?
not
Have
this
you seen
entry, the
the?
Vision. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen the Wheel of Fine comic cover T-shirts that they've been doing?
Uh, no, I have not. They're doing Vision stuff.
Each week they pick a few of the different comic covers and do a like T-shirt run. I'll put a link in the Zencaster chat. They're doing different covers. Devin ended up buying the Vision cover shirt because it had the Vision and all the Wandas on it. Because Devin is a big fan of Scarlet Witch,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I ended up buying the Punisher shirt for this week because even though I'm not reading the Punisher right now, it is just an awesome design. And the first time that I saw it, I laughed out loud because it's like this diner road sign with the Punisher at the top, the Punisher skull, and then there's an arrow pointing down with the word diner written on it, but only the letters D-I-E are uh, lighted up.
Lit up.
Yes, that's the word.
It lighted it up. uh,
I'm on pain pills.
oh, all right, all right, all right, all right. Uh, yeah, I'll have to check that out. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
some The covers will be cool T-shirts.
Yeah, like right now they've got the Civil War II cover. Well, by the time that people are looking, they probably won't be up still. But they've got like the Spider Woman cover, and like some of them make really good shirts. Some of them don't, and then like some of the stuff you'd like to see as a shirt
Hmm.
either already came or didn't get made into one at all.
Yeah, cool. I'll put that link in the show notes as well if anyone else is interested. Uh, Lucas, seems like we've got very different tastes in comics. But
Yes,
that's okay. We can
because I'm
coexist.
right and you're wrong. Oh, yeah, yeah, we can coexist.
Oh, did you want to go to war? Because we can't.
Oh, this war won't be
It
civil.
will not be a civil war. It will be a secret war.
It'll be a rap battle.
Oh, a
Oh,
rap battle. I need to get my rhyming dictionary. How
you mean
much
you
prep
can't
time do we
rhyme?
have?
I'm always ready for the rap battle.
Well, I am not.
I'm ready.
I have no rhythm, so I'll just forfeit.
See, that's how I win.
That's how you win. You bluff and say,
Mhm.
I'm a really good rapper, and anybody who's white is like, you win.
Hey, I've been a producer for two different rap artists. So
Okay. All right, all right, all
yeah,
right.
yeah. I've been involved with international crime gangs.
Okay, I'm recording this, so. Well, I
It's
guess you're
fine. The
recording it,
FBI,
so you don't have to give me the. You don't have to give me this
the
audio.
FBI knows. The FBI wrapped up the case
Okay.
as much as they could.
Wrapped it up. Did you rap battle them? Luke,
Wrapped
you're
it
under
up
arrest,
like
or am I? I'll rap battle you for it. And then you won. That's how you got off.
it's Yu-Gi-Oh rules. You find one thing that everyone in the world should be able to do, and then you make that your way of making decisions. And if people lose, you absorb their hearts, or you absorb their souls into copies of your LP.
Hmm. No copies of your LP.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. All right, Luke. We're at about an hour, so let's head into Tournament of Losers. We'll wrap it up. So, Tournament of Losers is our tournament segment, our list interactive fan thing, where we're doing obscure Marvel and DC heroes and villains, and we're having them go up against each other in a tournament style thing. We're in the preliminaries. This is our third preliminary round so far. Last week's was the Spot and Arabian Night, and the Spot won my first victory, or my picks first victory that I picked. I made the fool uh, decision of having Darkhawk, my favorite, go up against Gorilla Man, and I mean not being able to
Oh,
vote
yeah.
it on my own poll. So Darkhawk is in the loser bracket right now, but he could come back because we're doing our wild card pick at the end of the preliminaries. So Luke, I'll let you pick first. Who is your pick or your combatant?
Okay. So he recently came back after it was believed that he had died in the lead up to Civil War. But it turns out this skateboarding teen, who also has a brother who took over his title after he died, is back. His superhero name is Night Thrasher, and he's pretty much Batman on a skateboard. And also in one of the what ifs that we read this week, he gained cosmic power, and he called Galactus a. Can I swear on this podcast?
Yes.
Oh, he called Galactus a fuckhead, which that was like, I'm not sure who I'm going to vote for, and then it's like, oh no, if you call Galactus a fuckhead, you got my vote, Night Thrasher.
Cool. Night Thrasher's cool. I'm liking him in Contest of Champions.
Yep. And it looks like he's going to be on the Ultimates now. I'm thinking.
Huh. That's cool. Did he come back after being
He
back?
got banished like 2 issues ago.
I don't remember that. Well, my pick is a DC hero. named Roger Rodney Rabbit, aka Captain Carrot. He's from Earth C.
It looks like this time we're like picking each other's characters on
Oh,
accident. Like I've been the guy who's like, oh yeah, I like Hellcat, I like Squirrel Girl, I like the ones with all the weird, funny characters, and
I like
yet
more
I'm the
of the
guy who picks Night
traditional, like
Thrasher.
darker superhero stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's from Earthsea, and he works for the DC Comics of Earthsea as a writer and artist. And upon eating a cosmic carrot, Rodney is imbued with various powers, such as limited invulnerability, super strength, enhanced speed, stamina, hearing, and vision, and the ability to make gigantic, powerful leaps. That's from the Wikipedia, if you can't tell. So yeah, we've got Night Thrasher versus Captain Carrot. This is this week's fights. So yeah,
I'd vote for Night Thrasher. He's a
I'd
hunk.
probably vote for him too. Just because he has a skateboard. Captain Carrot was college. I'm trying to do a Marvel hero, Marvel villain, DC hero, DC villain. I guess my picking order, just because I'm more of a Marvel person, so I'm not picking Marvel every week.
hmm
So yeah, Captain Carrot was sort of like, who's an obscure DC character?
Well, see, if you had given me a warning, I was posting last night, and I like did a poll for people to like suggest who I should vote for. Pulling up those polls. I love Twitter polls
Hmm.
because most of the time I get no response on them.
So for
Oh,
me, I
okay.
voted for Night Thrasher, so I probably picked the person who's going to beat me.
Well, the it looks like I have votes on the polls that I made last night. I had on Nate Gray, Maggot, Baitor, and Faiza Hussein, and I picked none of those.
Oh, I picked who did I pick? I picked
You
Faiza,
know,
I think.
yeah. Oh, I probably would have gone with Faiza more than Maggot because I mean Faiza's awesome.
Yeah, she is. I hope that they
She
do
gets to
an
wield
Excalibur
Excalibur,
team. Yeah, I was just hoping. I was like, they should do. Al Ewing should do an Excalibur book.
or I should do an Excalibur
Yeah,
book.
sure.
I have a pitch for a new version of Exiles. It could easily be called Excalibur.
That's cool.
Yes. I used to play a game when I was taking long drives with friends in a car where I said I can come up with an interesting pitch for any character. And I believe my record was like 22, 0, and 1.
22 0. 22
Because,
losses or?
no, 22
Oh,
wins,
okay.
0 losses, and then 1 tie.
That'd be funny if it was like, I'm good at making pitches here, like 22 and 0.
Yeah.
Oh man, I like to pitch stuff all the time too. So I know the fun of pitching a book to people who don't want to listen to you.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely been something I've been working on for a while. Like I've been doing comics since like high school,
Hmm.
and that was like about a decade ago now. So the fact that I'm finally getting paid and I'm going to have like 3 new mini comics this year for Heroes Con is a pretty good sign.
That's cool.
You
That's
know,
really
it's all
cool.
working out. Yeah,
I need.
I've got one where it's Batman versus Superman, but with Saint Peter and Jesus.
Oh. Cool.
Yes.
That does sound interesting, actually. Are you selling them on a store anywhere, or are you just in person?
I will put them all eventually online, but I'll probably wait until Heroes Con is done to do that. I have I forget what type of store it is. Coltreg Comics. Let's see if that brings up anything on the Googles.
Hmm.
Uh, nope. It's bringing up a bunch of shit that I wrote.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'd like to gain access to any of your stuff. You're right, but I'm not going to HeroesCon. When is it? And where is it?
It is in Charlotte, North Carolina in 2 weeks.
Hmm. It's a little bit too far for me.
Oh, where are you coming from?
Illinois.
That's not too bad. I'm coming from Ohio.
Well,
Oh,
I'm
it's
not rich like you
Gumroad.
are. I don't just bathe in caviar every night.
Why would I bathe in my
Because you're
caviar?
rich. And you're...
Are you saying that I've gone too
you're
far?
eccentric.
Well,
That's
you
the
know
word
it
I
don't
was looking
matter
for.
anyway.
You're an eccentric billionaire. And then you
You can
deny it
rely
on
on your
podcasts.
you can rely on your old man money. You can rely on your old man honey. You're a rich girl.
Right, I am.
Okay, if you go to gumroad.com/Coltreg, you can get 4 of my comics right now, including The Tomb of Naomi, which is a gothic romantic horror comic. It's a period piece. There is Social Fist, which is the communist superhero comic book that I wrote back in college, and that's 3 issues worth of comics for only $4. There's also Eris Parish, which is like that movie The Artist, except it ends with the guy boxing a Frankenstein monster. And there's everyone's favorite, Senator Luchador.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you send me a
Uh,
link for that? And I can put it in the show notes.
yes, let's see if I make any if I get any purchases. I probably
I
won't.
probably will.
And also if you go to the Alternative Free Comic Book Day website, you can also buy Social Fist there. So, more power to you.
Cool. So yeah, if you're interested in that, pick those books up. I'm gonna. I think that's it. You do your pluggies at the end,
Yeah. And where can people find you, Devin?
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 Devin!
Devin? Uh, Multiversal Q is a weekly podcast. You can find us at multiversalq.com. You can find me online at the Twitter at Coltreg. That's KOLTREG. And you can find my personal website that's like several months out of date at Luke Hair. That's LUKEHERR.com. And I'm also on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, and all those other places.
Cool. And you can find me in the little outro I made after this. All right, Luke, thanks for coming in.
No problem. It's so weird without Devin here.
This one's for Luke.
This one's for Hank!
I'm editing that out.
Thank you for listening to The Beverage Podcast. The Beverage Podcast is available on Libsyn at thebeveragepodcast.libsyn.com. It is also available on iTunes and the Beverage YouTube channel. You can also like us on Facebook, The Beverage Podcast. We also have Twitters. My Twitter is The Beverage, and Marcus's is The Mook86. We also have a WordPress, which is linked on our Facebook page. I don't know what it is, because I don't have it written down on my paper. Thanks for listening. See you next time.